Hello everybody, welcome back to I Dream of Indie. This is Ole Gamer Joe here with another review for you today. One that I've really been anticipating for a long time as I was a huge fan of the original Remothered. This is Remothered Broken Porcelain, and this comes from developer Stormmind Games and was published by Modus Games. It's available on the Steam PC platform, which is where I played it, as well as the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. It's normally priced at $29.99. There is a discount on the Steam version that brings it down to $26.99. That promotion goes on till October 20th. So obviously, if you're watching this review a little bit later, you might have missed out. But if you're watching this early, then take advantage of that if you're interested in this title. So if you never got around to playing the original game, Remothered Tormented Fathers, I definitely recommend checking out that title. It's a great survival horror game. It came out in 2018, and it's available on all platforms as well. It's a really good fusion of, maybe picture Nemesis mixed with Clock Tower. You kind of have to hide from your enemies as opposed to face them head on. But unfortunately, the sequel here, Remothered Broken Porcelain, is, pretty broken in a lot of unfortunate ways, in a very disappointing sequel. This game does make a really good first impression though, even giving you the option to watch through some of what happened in the original Remothered game, and it gets you pumped up and excited about a sequel. After this optional introduction, you'll be introduced to Jen, who has recently been expelled from an all-girls boarding school, and thus is sent to Ashman Inn to be a maid, where she meets Lynn. Lynn doesn't turn out to be a very good friend either, injuring Jen, breaking her arm, or at least it appears to be some sort of arm injury she suffers from, and the two get into a big scuffle, and that sets off a bigger chain of events where she realizes that this manor has some pretty dark secrets and some dark forces are at work here. Before you know it, just like in the original Remothered, you are being hunted down. And just like its predecessor, you'll need to hide a lot in this game, whether it be in lockers or underneath certain areas. You want to stay out of the view of whatever is chasing you in this title. And that's really what this series' strength is, creating great tension. And I was startled, to be honest with you, at first, until I realized that this game has some serious issues. And really, my problem with this game is some of the forced combat. There is a crafting system in this game where you can create different items using other items that you find scattered across this manor and use them as traps or bait for the characters that you come across. For example, you might find a crying doll, you can set it down, and that will, ideally lure the character in, and then you can sneak up behind them and stab them. Unfortunately, these characters seem to spot you with no issue whatsoever, even if your hand is just peeking out a little bit. I was constantly spotted, and this is very frustrating because you can't just go up to these characters and swing and attack them. You have to basically not be spotted or try to throw something at these enemies, and that really sucks the fun out of this game because there's not a really full implemented combat system here necessarily, yet there is forced combat, and that's not a good mixture. Initially, like I mentioned, I had a great first impression of this game. It was cool to sneak around, try to avoid these enemies, and solve puzzles along the way as well. But then I got to what, for me anyways, felt like a game-breaking encounter where I just fought this enemy for hours and hours, and the idea is to sneak up behind them, stab them. You have to do this multiple times, actually, and again, because this isn't a real combat system like, say, Resident Evil or something where you can just walk up to your enemy and shoot them with a shotgun or stab them, it feels like this game is trying to force you to do something that it wasn't mechanically designed to do, and that's extremely frustrating. In fact, it was frustrating enough for me to not even want to continue the experience. I find that extremely disappointing. That's not a statement I ever expected to be making. I thought I'd be enjoying this game to its fullest, but man, what a disappointment, I do have to say. And it's even more disappointing because this game has a really good presentation in terms of its visual quality and some nice audio design as well. The graphics are excellent, at least on the PC version. I can't speak to the consoles. I was able to crank the settings all the way up, and I think the game has a really nice atmosphere. This manor looks quite realistic, actually. The characters don't look bad. Some of the facial animations are a little bit lacking, but it's a huge step up graphically from the original game, I do have to say that. Right from the moment you're on the title screen in this game, you realize that the sound design is excellent. You have a creepy whistling tune to kick things off, and throughout the game, there's definitely some weird, exciting sounds coming out of the left and the right that will keep you on your toes. This game, again, has a really great, eerie atmosphere. The sound design works well, and the graphics look great, I think. But just what happened with this title, and we may never know. The release date was pushed up, which you almost never hear of that happening, and I thought that was was a good sign. I thought this game would be in a great state, but there's plenty of bugs. I was getting stuck in various walls. I couldn't defeat this enemy to advance the game. I fought it for hours and hours. I honestly tried my best for you out there, but as it stands, I hope and I'm rooting for this developer to get things right, clean up the gameplay, because there is a nice presentation here. The story seems like it might go places, but I can't recommend this title right now. The gameplay is just far too broken. I guess the advice I would give you is go play the original Remothered for now. It's a really great game with good atmosphere, and it doesn't have a lot of the issues that I was running into with this one. Hope for some patches, hope that they can clean this one up down the road, but for now, sadly, this is the biggest disappointment of the year for me.
Why would you care, Lynn? Tell me.
I was just asking.
Asking what? It's none of your business.
What are you talking about? You can't be upset with me forever.
I'm trying not to be, but my arm keeps reminding me.
So will you be braving the world of Remothered Broken Porcelain? Let us know in the comments section below, and if you have enjoyed our video coverage today, consider hitting the subscribe button to help us bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming. There's a ton of other ways that you can support I Dream of Indie down in the description box below. That includes becoming a channel member or maybe even checking out our merchandise store. But however you end up supporting us, we thank you so very much for doing so.